Hey, it's Devin, and this is the Youngblood. What is going on, everybody? Hope everybody is having a phenomenal day. Hope everybody had a phenomenal day, should I say. And I hope everybody's just, ready to get things started for their evening, getting ready to go to bed, going to come listen to me talk about people's problems for the next couple of hours as people have, some emails and all that other stuff. Seriously, I mean, it's a lot of stuff's been going on lately. A lot of fun stuff's been happening. Got some cool things. Got one thing in the mail today. Actually, it's my what do you call it? My demo, I guess, demo or sample. It's just my sample is what it is. It's my sample. So if you can't see here, I'll back up. Right here, brand new T-shirt. We got T-shirts now. We got T-shirts, everybody. We have T-shirts. Actually, we're going to do a pre-order for T-shirts, but this is just the first sample of the T-shirts that we have. So yes, we now have podcast T-shirts for those that like to buy T-shirts from podcasters and things like that. So it's all about continuing to pay for my way I like to make a living. So there's that. So anyway, that's what's going on. That's how we get that's the newest thing in my life as of right now. And, essentially just new stuff, again, I like it. Got to have that T-shirt to help promote the podcast. I've already had people go, ooh, where can I get that? So just so everybody knows, we're going to start a pre-order. I think it's going to it'll go up next, actually maybe as soon as Friday. Should go up as soon as Friday. So that being said, we will have where people can order T-shirts and be happy. Yes, I will sign your paper for you. Job as a father is never ended. Because what am I signing anyway?
I don't even know.
You don't know what I'm signing, but you want me to sign this.
It's something in my history class.
It's something for your history class. It's yeah. Okay, it's National Park Team. Yes, I'll let you do this. No problem. There you go. All signed. What? You don't like my signature?
No, I was looking at your signature.
You trying to copy my signature?
No, look at my signature versus yours.
Yeah, mine actually is a signature.
Okay, well, mine's my initials. So, can I please a signature?
I have a signature. I'm one of the last generations that knows how to write cursive. Okay, you know that, right?
I know cursive.
Well, you slowly learned it, but what I'm saying is that I was forced to learn it. Or your generation tends to not be forced to do much of anything these days.
Well, I learned it because I read the Gravity Falls book.
Oh, okay. So you wanted to know how to do certain things. Got it.
Good night,
Good night. Love you too. Have a good night. Anyway, so now that my fatherly duties are done for the night because he's going to bed and I get to do this for the next couple hours. Again, yes, T-shirt pre-orders are going to be happening here soon. I will let you guys know. I'll post it on social media so you guys can jump on there and if you would like to get one. So anyway, that's that. I guess we should start deep diving because over the weekend we got a slew of emails. So here's what I've done. I'm going to be doing live every day this week. Basically, probably for the next who knows how long. I'm going to go live every week. Going to do the podcast every day of the week. And in between all that, but we're going on Saturdays. It's going to be will not be normal time. But I moved it up by an hour, so 9 o'clock to 11. But then on Saturdays it'll be from basically 9 o'clock. I think 9 o'clock on Saturday at night till 10 o'clock, and then on Sunday we'll probably want to do 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So, and I'm going to do this because I've been getting a lot of emails about church and religion and things like that. And I'm hearing, you know what? We might as well talk about that stuff on Sunday, being that's kind of the way that this thing's working. And, why not utilize those questions for Sundays? And then I'll answer anybody's question. I don't care what it is. If you have a religious question about anything, I will do my best to answer those in the correct way that may or may not offend you, but it may offend you anyway. So there's that. I'm used to making people upset. So, I mean, I haven't looked at my hate mailbox. I know I've got someone that now is going through and separating these emails out, but so the hate email, they do exist. I'll probably hit a few of those later on. But anyway, let's jump into some of these things. As usual, looks like we have a problem in a marriage. So let's start there. Anyway, hey, Devin, here's something I've never thought I'd hear. My husband told me he feels neglected in our marriage. We've got 3 kids. I work full time. Between the housework, school runs, and everything else, it's just I'm just trying to survive. I barely have time for myself, let alone him. But when he said that, I realized he's kind of right. We don't talk much anymore, and our intimacy has taken a backseat to everything. Now I'm torn. I want to be there for him, but I'm running on fumes. How do I balance everything without completely burning out? Is it possible to be a good wife and keep my sanity? Yes, the answer is yes. It is possible to be a good wife and keep your sanity. And honestly, what's up, River? You are in the house. How are you doing, my friend? The thing is, when it comes to marriage, and this, take it from me, my wife and I, we have both been in that boat where we've both been burnt out. And honestly, I've neglected her. She's neglected me, both on physical duties and, marriage duties and around the house duties and things like that. Marriage is hard. Marriage is always going to be hard. But if you work on it and you're willing to do what it takes, it will be okay. Now, as you said, technically both of you guys work full time. You've got 3 kids. You're between housework and all those chores and the school runs and things like that. You're exhausted. I get it. You're completely exhausted. Now, how do you fix that? The problem that you need to do is, he's feeling neglected. And I understand that point. And I understand how he's neglected. I understand how he feels because I don't believe this. This is not a belief of mine, but I was told a long time ago by an old boss. He was kind of a dirty old man. He said once, if you don't pet an old dog every now and then, he finds a new home. Okay. Now, he found a new home. That was what he did. So him and his wife ended up getting divorced. Obviously, that's not what you want to do. So what I do, this is how my wife and I have figured this stuff out. Part of it is one, I took more responsibilities in the house, especially when my wife was home with all the kids. She was burnt out because she was running all the kids everywhere. Now that my wife works and I work, and what it comes down to is it's equal. I mean, it's literally equal when it comes to what we do in our life. So that being said, to make this work, we split everything up. One, we make sure our kids do their chores, because there are some things that we should not have to do. One, I should not have to vacuum the house. 2, I should not have to take out the trash. 3, I should never, ever have to unload the dishes. Now, I do that on occasion, but I shouldn't have to do that. Being that we have 3 children living in our house, those are 3 little jobs that those kids can do every day. Simple and easy. So I'm not sure how old your kids are, but even at a young age, your kids can do something. So you need to get your kids involved in the life and get them to do stuff and make it fun for them. And then that'll help lighten the household load. Now, as far as taking kids to everywhere, that can't change. But what you can do, you can ask your husband, say, okay, here's what I need. It's all about communication. Everything in this is always about communication. If you'll talk to your husband and you let him know that I understand the neglect thing. I apologize. I don't mean to neglect you. Never have, never meant to. But I'm tired. Tell him, say, I'm tired. And say, I want to make time for you, but I'm tired. So how can we make this work? Well, simple. Ask him if he can pick up some of the help around the house. And yes, he's going to be tired too, because he does work too. But that being said, if he kicks in a little bit of time, say he took one thing off your list, whether it's cooking, whether it's, picking up the kids or dropping kids off, just however your job, whatever y'all do in your day works, make it work. Ask him to pitch in some, and he probably already does. So then on the other side, I'm going to ask this question of how often do you exercise? And I know I'm throwing something new into the mix, but I do know if people are exercising, they have more energy, right? And having more energy is definitely a bonus, especially when it comes to a marriage, and especially when you're tired all the time. So if you're not making time for yourself in exercising and eating right, then you're going to things will start trickling down and falling apart. So here's the thing. You have to prioritize yourself. And your husband won't be upset about this. Because if you're prioritizing you, then you're going to be prioritizing other things too. And if you're prioritizing other things, then he won't feel neglected. Again, have him chip in a little bit more. You need to focus on yourself some so you can get where you want to be. Because if you're exercising and you're eating right, and I'm serious, those two things will help you in the lack of the lack of intimacy in the bedroom. I mean, that is literally part of that will solve almost all of it right there. If you take care of yourself, figure out how to squeeze that time in, it will work. It's hard. Marriage is hard. And when you have 3 kids, and I'm not sure how old your kids are, you said you just have 3. If they're young, then that takes up more work. But and then again, if they are young, make sure your kids are on a schedule. Your kids go to bed at a certain hour. Make sure all that stuff. I mean, if your kids go to bed at a certain time, and then that leaves the evenings for you guys, even if it means you're just going to bed and cuddle for a little bit, that's fine too. You have to make time for each other, because what happens as parents, we tend to focus on the kids more once you start having kids, and you start focusing on yourself way less, and you start focusing on your spouse way less. And sadly, and this is a sad truth that no one ever wants to address when it comes to marriage and having children. Your marriage is great when you're married and it's just you two. You have all the time in the world to spend with each other. But when you have children, your time focuses on them, and then you lose the amount of time with your spouse because you're focusing on your kids. Now, so how do you fix that? You just got to make the time. Whatever we prioritize in our life, whatever we focus on is what we end up doing. So kids do get in the way. And I'm not telling people to not have children. People should have children. Children are amazing. They're awesome. They teach you to become a better adult as an adult. And they teach, no matter how hard it is raising kids and the crap that you have to deal with, you become a better person when you have children. And who wouldn't want to be a better person, right? It is work. It is time consuming, but it's not bad. So that's what you got to do. You need to learn to figure out how to prioritize yourself a little bit. 30 minutes a day. Figure out where you can go on a walk for 30 minutes or jump rope for 30 minutes. Just something. Find something that you can do for 30 minutes to help yourself out. That help gives you more energy. 2, ask him to help out some more. And 3, just prioritize you guys. Because if you don't spend, I think it was Jordan Peterson. I think he said if for a couple, when they're married, if a couple spends minimum of 15 minutes a day talking, that is the bare minimum just to keep a marriage even, just to keep it, on a plateau of not decline. So you need more than 15 minutes. You need more than 15 minutes of talking. You need more than 15 minutes of just being together. So that's what you got to do. You have to do that. Your marriage deserves to be where you can be happy and where you can do things without feeling like you're drowning in your responsibilities. If you do that, you'll be okay. It will get better. That I promise. All right. This one's weird. Okay. Hey, Devin. I'm almost embarrassed to write this, but I'm thinking my husband has a crush on his coworkers. He talks about his worker. Okay, I said coworkers. He talks about her constantly, how talented she is, how funny she is, and recently he's been staying late after work more than usual. I don't have any solid proof that anything is going on, but my gut tells me something's off. When I brought it up, he said I'm being ridiculous and that it's just work, but I can't shake the feeling that there's more to it. Am I paranoid or should I trust my instincts? How do I even begin to handle this without accusing him of something I can't prove? If you can't prove it, then you can't really do much, right? If there is no solid proof that your husband is cheating on you, he may talk about her, may say the cool things about her. So here, okay, you're in a marriage that's it looks like it's in a decline, and you kind of feel that your marriage is in a decline, which is horrible because people don't need to live their life where they're someone who they've put a ton of work into, meaning a ton of work to build a relationship for a long time. You don't need to feel like that you're taking the side burners. Okay. So I'm going to say this. If you don't have proof of it, you need to give him a reason to come home early. I'm serious. Give him a reason. You know, you're going to have all your assumptions you can ever think of what's going on at work. But because the thing is, you two had something together one time, and your gut's probably not off. It may be innocent and simple right now, but that innocent and simple of him at work with his coworker is innocent right now, but it can go down that path of horrible. You need to give him something that he wants to brag about more so than he may or may not be doing right now. And when I say that, give him a reason to come home for lunch. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but the reality is if you give him a reason to come home for lunch so he can get some dessert, if you know what I'm cooking here, the possible crush that you think he may have at work will be non-existent. The reality is he's probably talks to her and gets something out of it because, again, men need three things. Simple as that. Men need only three things in any relationship. One, they want the goods in the bedroom. That needs to happen. Two, they need respect. Simple as that. And three, they need a good conversation. Food helps out too, so we'll say four. But the reality is, if you can do that for him, give him a reason to not stray away, then do that. I'm serious. That sounds horrible. People are like, well, so you want me to bribe my husband? Yes, I want you to bribe your husband. I literally want you to bribe your husband. I want you to come to the door when he comes home and you be wrapped in saran wrap. Simple as that. That was from an old TV show. It's not a TV show, old movie, Fried Green Tomatoes. But seriously, if you do that, you're going to give him something to think about. If you want to send him a text message occasionally, something slightly suggestive, I'm telling you, you will give him that reason to want to be home. Before anything was to happen, you need to head that off as quick as possible. And jealousy is not the way to do it, because jealousy, if anything, that'll push him away from you more. You guys got together for a reason. You guys dated for a reason. You guys loved each other for a reason. Give him a reason to revamp that. Give him a reason to want to have that. And the thing is, even if nothing was to ever happen and it was totally innocent at work, what you got to do, I mean, what you have done, that means you would have created something pretty epic. He would be like, oh my gosh, what is going on? My wife is like all over me. I'm dead serious about this. Talk to him. Make him feel comfortable. 2, bedroom. Simple as that. If you do that, you'll see your marriage is completely changed for the better. It really will. I mean, it's simple. I mean, if you love your husband and you never want him to stray, do the things that would make him not want to stray. And I tell every guy that too. If you love your wife and you feel like that she may be wanting to stray or she is going to stray, give her a reason to not. Really, I mean, if you do those things and you give them the reasons for not doing that, although here's the thing: you make a commitment when you get married, right? And the commitment should be what should be enough. It should be enough for both of you guys. But that's saying that you're still doing the things that you did before, or even that you started off your marriage doing. And that was spending a ton of time with each other. And honestly, you were building each other up beyond all means. So what happens is when you get married, you get complacent and you kind of backslide a little bit and you just get comfortable. And they say the marriage 20 pounds. I mean, I got the marriage 40 pounds on me. When my wife was pregnant with our first child, she gained 45 pounds. No joke. My wife gained 45 pounds. No, I'm not calling my wife fat by any means. I never will, never have. She is, oh my gosh, my wife is awesome, right? Even now, she is beautiful and love and everything. And when she gained 45 pounds with our first child, I did too. Part of that is because she refused to eat unless I ate with her, and she wanted to eat more often because she was pregnant. And so I did, and I didn't want to eat, but I did with her because she wanted to. She wouldn't eat unless I did that with her. I mean, you don't know how many late night runs to McDonald's just to get her French fries at like 2:00 in the morning because she was having a craving at 2:00 in the morning. So I'd jump in the car, I'd run over to McDonald's, I get her French fries. But I'm here going, well, if I'm buying French fries, I might as well go and buy the whole meal. So I'd buy the whole meal. And of course, she just wanted the French fries. Well, I'm not going to let this go to waste, so I'm going to drink the soda and I'm going to eat I'd buy 2 sodas and I would do that, and then I'd buy eat the sandwiches and whatever. So I gained all the weight. But thing is, when she had the baby, she lost all the weight, but I didn't. So that's the sucky part for me. That's the sucky part for being a guy. But the reality is, I love my wife, and I did it for my wife, and now that will never ever change. So that being said, now after the kids, even for us, after you have kids, things change, but they don't have to change too much because that's up to you guys. So again, if your husband, you feel like he's straying away just because he's bragging about this coworker, it could be totally as innocent as he says. But if your gut tells you something, follow your gut. And then I'm telling you, give him a reason to come back. Seriously, you got to give him a reason to come home. And honestly, if you give him that reason, there'll never ever be a problem. You got him hook, line, and sinker because he's stuck with you. He marries you for a reason. And so continue to give him that reason to be around. That's all I'm going to say. To me, it seems pretty simple. And if my wife was up, actually my wife she's going to start doing these things with me once a week because like she used to do it more than that. But she would tell you the same exact thing. Give him a reason to come home. So now, because I work from home, I give my wife a reason to come home. You know what I mean? I send my wife the suggestive messages and things like that. I do. You don't believe me? You could ask her. My wife, I do the naughty things yeah, simple as that. Anyway, let's move on. Thank you for all the hearts over there, by the way. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Hey, Devin, I've been I've been dating this great guy for about 6 months now, and everything is going well, except one major problem. My dog hates him. Every time he comes over, my dog growls, hides, and barks like he's under attack. He's normally a super chill dog, so now I'm starting to wonder, does my dog know something I don't? Could this be some kind of red flag? Is my dog just being territorial, or should I take this as a sign that something's off with this with my boyfriend? Okay, so when it comes to animals, I do believe animals are a great judge of character. When it comes to a dog or a cat, they are a great judge of character when it comes to people. Plain and simple. We don't want to admit it, but they know things. Now, one, it could be just your dog, right? Dog being territorial, fine. But what you need, here's what I would do. Get you a little small camera, put it up somewhere in the house, wherever you guys and the dog is going to be most often. And just see how, and you go say, hey, I'll be back for a little bit. I'm going to go freshen up, or I'm going to go cook some, whatever you end up doing. And he's chilling and hanging out in the living room or whatever. See how he treats the dog. If he's like nice to the dog in front of you, but he's not nice to the dog when you walk away, there's your answer. I mean, dogs do know things. And if someone doesn't treat a dog right, the dog's definitely going to be all, territorial back at him. Plain and simple. Dogs do know stuff. Seriously, dogs do know stuff. But then on the other side, they are dogs. I would say follow what you feel is right, because it's right. If the dog is going to be a problem. I mean, if the person's a problem or not. You may like the guy, but he could be bad news. But you said you've been dating for 6 months. So, I mean, probably could be just your dog. I mean, dogs typically from day one would know something. And then, well, okay, here's the thing though. If a dog hasn't warmed up to him after 6 months, there could be something going on. He may have treated the dog wrong at one time. And I'll say this, I believe how a person treats an animal is a direct reflection on how they're going to treat people. Really is. Plain and simple. I mean, I'm allergic to dogs and cats, but yet we have them because I love my wife and she's happier when she has an animal. So there's that. But our animals know that I'm not a bad guy. So yeah, I mean, put up a little sting, put up a camera, figure it out, go from there. Anyway. Hey, Devin, I love my husband. Oh my gosh. When it starts off with it says I love my husband, you know there could be a problem. But here we go. Hey, Devin, I love my husband, but I swear his snoring is on a whole new level. It's like trying to sleep next to a chainsaw. I've tried everything, earplugs, white noise machines, even rolling him on the side, but nothing works. Last night, I actually Googled, can you divorce someone for snoring? But I keep fighting the Snore War, or is it time to move him onto the couch permanently? Please help me before I lose it. Okay, there's probably a health issue. Okay, I know I snore, and my snoring, and when I'm eating right and I'm exercising, my snoring is less because one, I'm losing weight. So he may have sleep apnea. One, I would get him checked for that. Now, the cure for sleep apnea is real. There is a cure for sleep apnea. You know, you can get him the Darth Vader mask and whatever, and so he can breathe through that at night, and that'll actually kill off all the snoring. But on the other side, it will create the sound of the machine going off. So you don't need to divorce your husband because he snores. It does get old. If he sits up, he probably doesn't snore. But it's because there's a lot of fat around things. I mean, unless he's a super skinny guy and he's snoring, then he needs to be checked out too, also. But for the most part, I'm betting he's probably overweight. And you know, the thing is, you need to go take him to a doctor, have him checked out, and if you get him checked out, then what will happen is that can give you an incentive to help push him to lose some weight. Because I mean, wouldn't he want to be in better shape anyway? I mean, honestly, I'm working on it, and so I mean, this is no grounds for divorce, but it'll be. You just gotta figure out. You love the guy, so, and if you love him that much, then you'd want him to be healthy anyway. I would get him checked out, go see a physician, see what's going on, and go from there. Because honestly, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to not have to deal with all the snoring, and you know, if obviously you like to cuddle up next to him, so there's that. Hey, Devin. Lately, my wife has become way too obsessed with true crime documentaries and podcasts. I've gotten to the point where she's watching. It's gotten to the point where she's watching them every night before bed and making casual comments like, "If I were going to murder you, I'd never get caught." Am I overthinking this, or should I be low key worried for my life? I mean, she's never been violent, but you never know, right? Okay. First of all, every woman in America knows how they would get rid of their spouse. Plain and simple. That is a true fact. Whether they listen to true crime or watch true crime or not, they all know how they would do it. That being said, I wouldn't be worried unless you've done things to be worried about. If you treat her right, you're going to be fine. But on the other side, if you're worried, then no, you don't have to worry. I mean, the reality is every woman in America, if not in the world, who listens to this stuff, they know exactly how they would do it. Not that they would. So that's like every guy. If you ask them, you know, what they know about anything in history, they would tell you, or anything about a car, they would tell you. They know those things. Just because you know the things, you don't have to worry about it. You'd be like, if you know how to fix up an old car, does your wife have to worry that you're going to go buy an old car? Probably does. That's a more likelihood of that happening than anything else. But I mean, on the other side, I wouldn't worry. I mean, I'm going to say you people send me these types of things just to see what I would say. I know that's half the battle, but yeah. I mean, if you do need to worry because you're treating her wrong, then you should worry. But if you're treating your wife with respect and doing the right thing, you got nothing to worry about. She just knows how to do it. And that could come in handy in the future. Just think if you ever needed it, you say, okay, I need you to do something. We can't talk about it, but I need your help because you're an expert in this area, and it'll be covered, no problem. Hey, Devin, I've come to the conclusion that my kids only respond to commands if they come from Alexa. I can ask them to clean their rooms, and it's just like they're deaf. But if Alexa says it, they're suddenly model citizens doing their chores like robots. I'm honestly considering changing my name to Alexa at this point. How do I regain control in my house without losing to a robot? Is this the future of parenting? No, Alexa is not the future of parenting. You can add things to Alexa, by the way, that tells them what they're supposed to do, and there are ways to do that. You can actually go ahead and you can create your own commands if you want to. Now that's a little bit, maybe a little bit beyond some people and their abilities, but I wouldn't do that. You're the boss. You're the mom. You should get the respect that you deserve. And how do you do that? You by limiting the things that they're doing. If they're not listening to you, limit it. Seriously, you are the queen of the house. You are in charge. Take command. I'm dead serious. If they don't listen, you limit what they can do. If they don't listen again, you cut off the TV. If they limit that, take away their phone chargers. If they got phones, just take the charger away. Take the wire away. Because what will happen is they'll want that charger because their phone's going to die eventually. And you can do one of two things. You can give them the charger because they're whining and complaining, or you can say, go do your chores, and then you get your charger back. And then they'll want to put it off. But then as that phone starts to get close to dying, you're going to have them. You're going to control them. Again, you're the parent. Be a parent. Do your job. Seriously. And if they want to use Alexa, tell them, you can tell them, say, here's the deal. Every day, you have a list of chores you need to do. So you can go ask Alexa what your chores need to be done. And then once that's done, you let me know, or you let Alexa know, and she'll mark it off on the list. But until then, you're not getting a dang thing until this job is done. Pretty simple. My opinion. Anyway. You're a good mom. Your kids are just not listening, and it'll be fine. Don't stress. It'll be okay. All right. Hey, Devin. So my husband has this weird thing where he loves to eat food in bed. I'm not talking about snacks. I'm talking about full meals, spaghetti, ribs, you name it. Our bed looks like a crime scene after every meal. I've asked him to stop, but he swears it's the only place he can truly relax while eating. I don't know if I should laugh or cry at this point. How do I stop this madness without sounding like a nag? Don't let him in the room. Tell him the bedroom and the bed is for two purposes only. Unless one or both of those things are going on, there's no food. You tell him food is not for relaxing. Go eat at the dinner table like normal people. Dead serious. Sounds like you guys are not eating at the dinner table anyway. Dinner tables were invented for a reason, and the dinner table were invented so people could sit down together, enjoy a meal, have conversations about what's going on in their day, in their life, so they can get to catch up on things. If you're letting that tells me there's another thing in the bedroom. That tells me you have a TV in your bedroom. If you want to kill off any aspect of bedroom stuff, put a TV in your bedroom. Seriously. So now you got a TV in your bedroom, and now he's bringing the kitchen to your bedroom. Get rid of the TV out of your bedroom. Then there's no reason for him being there. Honestly, he shouldn't even be watching TV while he's eating anyway. He needs to be having conversation with the people he loves that he's around. That would be the ideal situation. So kill the TV off. Get rid of the TV out of the bedroom. Don't allow food in the bedroom. And honestly, another way to solve it. This sounds horrible, but it's true. Even if your kids are doing this, anyone who has kids, anyone who has a husband or a wife or whatever, if they're bringing a ton of food into the bedroom, you can tell them, say, hey, I don't want to have rats in the house. I don't want to have mice in the house. And tell them, I don't want to have this. And they'll give you some excuse. Oh, we won't have that. I clean up after myself. Well, you may not have the mice or the rats in your house, but you can create the idea that there is. And yes, I'm going to tell you to do a little white lie. I'm not a proponent of lying, but if it helps you in your benefit of getting this to happen, You take some, buy some black rice. Seriously, buy black rice. Then you take a couple pieces of the black rice, put it away, hide it away. You take some few of the black rice and you scatter that around where they eat, in their bedrooms, whatever. I've done this. We've done this to our kids, and it stopped them from taking food to their bedrooms. We told them we don't want any mice in the house, and so we would scatter that poop everywhere, in their drawers a little bit, and they would get all disgusted. I gotta wash my clothes. Yeah, you do. You gotta wash all your clothes again, because that means if they're pooping in there, they're peeing in there. And then put it on the floor. So you put the rice on the floor. The little black rice looks like rat poop, okay? It really does. So you can do it that way. But honestly, get rid of the TV out of the bedroom. Get rid of there should be nothing going on in the bedroom except one or two things. Sleeping and bedroom stuff. Simple as that. And if you're doing more than that in the bedroom, you're eating, you might as well put if anything, take the bed and put it in the kitchen. If you put the bed in the kitchen, then he'll be like, oh, well, this is good for everything. Because that's gross, honestly. No one wants to sleep in that. That's very, very much unsanitary. That is disgusting. So you tell them. That's what you do. It's your house, too. This is your house. So you deserve to not have to worry about it. Hey, Devin. My husband recently started going to the gym with this guy from work, and now they're physically inseparable. They text more than we do. They have gym dates, and he's even started meal prepping because his buddy told him to. I'm all for him being healthy, but I'm starting to feel like a third wheel in my own marriage. Is it weird? Is this a weird midlife crisis, or am I just jealous of his new bromance? You're jealous of his new bromance. Simple as that. Here's the thing. If you're worried about your husband hanging out at the gym too long and getting all that stuff, go to the gym with them. Seriously, be the third wheel and go to the gym, because he's going to the gym for what you're saying is midlife crisis. Well, but let it become part of your midlife crisis. Wouldn't it be awesome to get healthy together? And then you'd have more conversations. You'd have more talk. I'm not saying take the bromance away, because every guy needs a good bromance. Seriously. Because there's some things that some women just don't understand about men, and it's sad that they don't. Not from my wife and I. I tell my wife everything. She's my best friend, and she has learned what I'm open about, what I'm not open about, and she knows I will be open about everything if it's good for our relationship. Some things I just don't tell her because it doesn't really matter, right? Like, I don't tell my wife what I did on the computer today, but I tell her about I worked and how, and if she wants details, she'll ask me for details. But if you're worried because you're not seeing your husband that often, because you think it's some weird bromance and you don't want to be a third wheel in your marriage, go to the gym with him. How awesome would that be? Seriously, go to the gym, do that with him, and honestly, he'll be spending more time with you too. And then what will end up happening, his bromance, in many cases, that guy will be like, well, crap, I don't get to spend, I know I got to spend time with you. He becomes the third wheel, and that's what you want. So seriously, don't sweat it. I mean, the reality is, do sweat it. Go to the gym and sweat it all out. But seriously, though, don't worry about it. Every guy needs a good friend, a really good friend. It's important. Hey, Devin, my kids keep asking me for stuff like we're living in a mansion and I'm secretly a millionaire. Every time we go to the store, it's, can I buy this? Or I need this new gadget. I'm over here trying to explain we can't buy a new iPhone every time one comes out, but they just look at me like I'm being cheap. How do I break them out of that? I'm not Jeff Bezos, and we actually have to live on a budget. You tell them that. So here's the thing. One thing my wife and I have done, and this is one thing that I think some people don't do and they think they should do. I think your kids need to be involved in your budget a little bit. They need to understand how you work your budget. Involve them in the finances a little bit. Not everything. They don't have to know everything. But let them understand that, hey, house payment or rent cost this much. Food for you guys, because you guys, especially if you want this type of thing and this type of thing to eat, costs this much. and explain to them. And honestly, you can say, hey, we only make this much money. Your kids should be involved in your budget, because if you involve them in your budget, then that'll help them to learn how to budget in the future anyway. And because that's important. Your kids should know how to budget. And because they're not going to learn that in school. No one's going to teach that in school. That is the least thing that they barely know how to teach anything in school anyway. Math changes every year. There's some new way of teaching math. They're like, oh, here's new math now. No, math is math. Math should never be changing. The only thing that changes in math would be if something new in physics was to come out, but that's physics. That's not math. The reality is you need to involve your kids in the budget, and so they can see the big picture. It's nothing wrong with that. And it's one year, my parents. So I grew up in their family-owned construction business. And this one year, we were having some hard times. Things were not houses weren't selling. I had a brother out on a mission, and they were paying for that. So all these different things that were going on, and life was hard. We understood our parents budgeted. We knew they weren't made of money. But on the other side, this year, we didn't know this about this. I found this out like a year or so later. My dad plays the banjo. Now, he taught himself how to play the banjo. But then when it came down to Christmas time, this one Christmas, I would say we were dead poor. We were dead broke. So that being said, we didn't ask for much. There were things we wanted, but my parents didn't tell us that they were suffering this year when it came to finances, because things were just getting harder and harder. And all of a sudden, my dad's banjo disappeared. My dad goes and he sold his banjo for like $2,000, and it was worth more than that. And he paid for Christmas for us with his banjo. We didn't know about that till later on. So the thing is, involve your kids a little bit. Let them know that you don't buy the new iPhone every year. I know I have a son who makes good money, and he buys a new phone every time one comes out, but we don't. We live on a budget as well. Our lives, when it comes to phones, we upgrade about it once every 2 years. So we wait technically it's 3 years. We wait 3 years before we buy a new phone. So we wear these things out, which is fine. That's the way it should be. You should involve your kids. Have them understand how things are, and let them understand how especially since things are so expensive nowadays. I mean, that's what you got to do. If you teach your kids and you train your kids to budget because they learned from you guys as growing up, they will be financially set when they get older. It's plain and simple. That's what you got to do. You got to involve your kids. If you involve your kids, they'll be better. And you're setting them up for success. And why wouldn't you want your kids to be successful? I think that's the biggest goal for every parent, is to have their kids be successful. Hey, Devin, I found out recently that my husband has a secret hobby. He's been building miniature trains in our garage. I mean, I thought he was out there working on the car or something, but nope. He's got a full train set up with tracks, tiny little towns, and even tiny people. The thing is, he never mentioned it to me, and now I feel like I'm married to the star of Honey, I Shrunk the Kid with locomotives. Am I overreacting, or is it weird that he's hiding this from me for years? How often do you not go in the garage? Real question. Do you never go in your own garage? And the thing is, he may have mentioned it to you, but okay, when it comes to marriage, especially if you've been married for a long time, you tend to assume the other person knows everything that's going on, right? Or you or he may have mentioned something in passing, and because you were busy, you didn't pay attention, and so you kind of left them out. You didn't leave it out. You just didn't acknowledge it. So whether it's secret or not, I think it's amazing, for one. Who doesn't like trains? And who would want their own cool little train village in their entire garage? I mean, I would do that if I had the opportunity to do it, which actually I may do that in the future once we get moved back to Tennessee. I'll have me a train room. Why not have a train room? I think that's why I think you're weird for to think that and you're overreacting. I think that's the problem. He's not weird. I think you should be happy that he has that as a hobby, because in reality, if your husband has that as a hobby, he's not cheating on you. Seriously, he's not cheating on you. He's just working on trains. Why don't you go in the garage? I mean, I get it. My wife doesn't really go in the garage unless she's parking the car, but we park our car in the garage. But honestly, the thing is that just like the unspoken room that you don't go into? I would have gone in the garage. And you're saying this has been going on for years? You got to know who your husband is. So ask him about the town. I guarantee you he would love to tell you everything there is about that whole little city he's got going on with the train village in his garage. And you're here overreacting because he's got a train village in the garage. You need to love that. You should take total advantage of that. The man has been putting together a train system with little people and little towns and mountains and all that stuff. That is epic. You want to get to know your husband more? Go talk to him about his trains. I'm dead serious. So what it sounds like to me is you guys have kind of gotten out of touch with each other when it comes to your relationship, and you need to get that back. What is it that he doesn't know about you? Seriously, there's got to be something. It's pretty simple. You got people can, the biggest problem that I've seen when it comes to the main connection with all the emails that I get from people having problems, doesn't matter what it is. It could be work stuff. It could be relationship stuff. It could be, whatever. Doesn't matter. The biggest problem that I see here is people just aren't talking to me anymore. We're not communicating anymore. We're not talking. We're not discussing stuff. That's what we got to do. You want a good marriage. You want a good life. Talk to your spouse. Plain and simple. Talk to them. Tell them how you feel. Make them happy. All that stuff. Communicate. I think what happens, we get so complacent in marriage and in relationships that we just assume things are going to be good, and then we freak out when they're not good. And usually when they're not good, it's almost too late anyway. So don't freak out when it comes to this. What you need to do, you need to just talk. I mean, the man has a train system that you didn't know about in the garage. You can't tell me that's not epic. Communicate. Talk about it. I'm dead serious. If you didn't know that, then you guys haven't talked for a while. And that's pretty sad. You guys just are like roommates. That's all you are. You're just roommates. Honestly, I guarantee roommates talk more than you guys have been talking. If he's had this thing going on for years in the garage, and you haven't, and you didn't know about it, and you're talking. You said years. You guys roommates talk more than that. Okay, that's your job. You need to go home. You need to give your husband a big old hug. You say, you know what? I want you to tell me about your train system, and start from there. If you show interest in his stuff, I guarantee he'll show interest in your stuff. Plain and simple. But don't mess with the guy's train system. He deserves to have his train system. You're good. Anyway. Hey, Devin. My wife has been dropping hints. Okay, more like throwing giant hints that she wants another baby. I love our kids, but we've already got 2. And I'm barely keeping my head above water between work, the kids, trying to keep some sense of sanity. I can't imagine throwing a newborn into the mix. But every time I try to gently steer the conversation away, she gives me that look like I'm crushing her dreams. How do I tell her I'm not on board for baby 3 without starting a major fight? Okay, here's the deal. Kids are awesome. Kids are expensive. Now, that being said, I was done when we had our 4th child. We have 5 children, okay? I was done. And the main reason I was done, we never had a number of how many kids we were going to have. Never ever was that, we never had that discussion. We just had kids, and part of that is I traveled a lot. I like my wife and she likes me. So when we get back together and I come back from work, when I would come back from work, we would just like each other a lot. So then we had 4 children. But then when it came to our 5th child, I was done. I did not want to have any more. And the main reason I didn't want to have any more was because the doctor said, if you have any more kids, your wife is going to die. And I believed him. I believed the doctor. Now, I am a man of faith and I do believe in God. So I will tell you, I did a lot of praying not to have another kid. So let me backtrack this. My wife had other plans. She felt that we were not done having children. All our kids in age, right, from the oldest to just say the first 4 kids, their ages are pretty close. Honestly, I think on average, I think they're about, between them, I think they're about 16 months apart. On average, some of them are actually closer than that, but on average, about 16 months apart. Then from our 4th child to Ethan, our 5th one, there's 4 years. That's a long time. It's not bad. That's a good span. That's a good space for kids and things like that. But that being said, I was done. If you tell me that something's going to happen to somebody, if something keeps going on, then I was done. Now, I didn't have a vasectomy. She didn't have a hysterectomy. We did take precautions, and they were working. But my wife had ulterior motives. She had different plans. She felt like we were not done. And then all of a sudden, we had another kid. Lo and behold, we have 5 children. Now, when she told me that she was pregnant with our 5th, I wasn't mad. Why would I be mad? It's a child. It's a blessing. It is amazing. Children are incredibly cool, okay? No matter what the heartache you have with them as they get older, there's going to be, I'm going to tell you, and you know this because what you already have, but there's going to be a lot of heartache, especially when they turn into teenagers and then they turn into young adults and they're going to treat you poorly and they're going to yell at you and they're going to scream at you. Well, although they shouldn't do that, it's probably going to happen because they're trying to figure out their life. When my wife told me that we were going to have another baby, I was scared. And again, as I said, I'm a man of God. I prayed, and I prayed so much because the doctor said that I would lose my wife, and that's not what I want. That was not in the books. I did not ever want to be that guy that raises kids without a wife. I like my wife. I love being around her. She's the most epic, amazing thing that I have ever, I'll call it an achievement. I married a 10 and I'm a 4. So that being said, when she told me that we were going to have child number 5, I turned to my Heavenly Father and I asked for help because honestly, it is hard. And you know what? Everything worked out, and I did not lose my wife on our 5th child. So now I'm going to apply this to you. You're nervous about having your 3rd child, right? Your wife wants another one. You don't know. And you're worried about the finances. Let me tell you, when we first got married, we were poorer than church mice. We had nothing. Seriously, nothing. We barely made it work. If you wait to have kids, and you've already got 2, but if you're waiting to have more kids because you're waiting for the money, it'll figure itself out. because nothing stretches you more than a challenge. And if you're like most men, you like to have a challenge. So honestly, if your wife feels like you guys should have another kid, I'm going to tell you, your wife is smart. She knows that women know things that we don't know. Okay. Plain and simple. Women are smarter than us. They're closer to God than us. They know how to do, they know how to do a whole lot more than us. Now we serve a purpose because we, just how this works. Trust your wife. It will work out. I know this is not the answer you wanted. You wanted me to tell you some reason to not have a kid, some reason to not have a major fight. Why would you want to fight about it? Seriously, it sucks. Why would you want to have a fight about a child? They're amazing. And why would you want to have a fight with your wife about something that's so, honestly, a discussion that's kind of insignificant? My take is on this, and this is what I'll tell you. Take it to your Heavenly Father. You pray about it, take it to Him, see what He says. I already know the answer. I can tell you what the answer is probably going to be. Because, I mean, if you're obviously the fact that you're emailing me about this, you're worried about this, tells me that you're probably a good father and you're probably a good husband. You're just worried. So to fix that, where do you go when you're worried? One, I talk to my wife and I talk to my Heavenly Father. That's what I do. Those are my go-tos. And if you can't talk to your wife about it, then that's sad, for one. And I understand you have strong feelings on why you shouldn't have another kid. But I would go into and rethink that and I would have strong feelings on why you should. Think about what would it be, go through the pros and cons. And honestly, all the cons are going to be like, well, we can't afford it. We can't do this. It's going to be harder. We'll have to pay for these things. Yeah, those are all the cons. The cons of having a kid literally come down to just monetary issues. That's the bottom line. It's a monetary problem when it comes to having kids. That is the entire problem total when it comes to the issue when it comes to having a kid. It's all about money. But if you have a little bit of faith, you'll figure it out. Money does work itself out. It always has. Means you may have to work an extra hour. I'm serious. Whatever it takes. If it's the right thing and you know you need to do it, then you figure it out. I'm dead serious. With your other two kids, you figured it out. And you know what? Wouldn't it be nice to have her happy too? You got an awesome wife. I would say, let her be happy. And honestly, you'd be happy. You'll be happy. You love your other two kids. You're going to love a third one. That's what I would do. Stop stressing about it. It'll be okay. Do those two things, and I promise you it'll work out. Hey, Devin, I'm pretty sure my boss has it out for me. Every meeting, he finds a way to criticize something I've done, even when I know I'm doing a good job. The problem is, I actually need this job, so quitting isn't an option right now. Every day, I'm walking on eggshells and waiting for him to pounce on something else. How do I survive working for someone who clearly hates me without losing my mind? Here's the thing. He probably does not hate you. So it could be one of two things. And I'm going to sway towards, I hate negativity. I'm not a huge negative person, okay? So, let's address that side first. If he hates you, you're going to be gone. There's nothing you can do or say or whatever. He's just going to push it until you're gone. Okay? Simple as that. So if you're worried about that and you think that's what the end result is going to be, go look for another job. Okay? Now, let's say that that's not the case, right? So what I would do, see what you can do to improve more, to make life better for yourself. That's simple. And I'm serious about that. So how can you perform better that makes his life easier? And if you make his life easier, then I think he'll probably back off a little bit. So the reality is do your job more so and better than you've ever done to give him, one, give him no reason to let you go. Two, to give him a reason to give you more money. If you perform well, you will be taken care of monetarily very well if you perform well. And if you perform well, then it's easier to ask for a raise. Now, on the other side, if he's criticizing you, he wants to make you better. Criticism is not a bad thing. If you're doing everything you can to be better, and then you listen to some of the what would happen if you listen to some of the criticism? Are you just throwing it to the side, or are you actually focusing on what he says? Because if you do it that way a little bit, he could be a little bit micromanaging, and so be it. Let him micromanage. But what you need to do is, once you start getting things a certain way, then what happens is the micromanaging goes away because you end up giving him that trust. So perform well, prove him wrong, or go look for another job. Because honestly, if he's out for you, and you're going to lose your job anyway, and that'd be a sucky thing to do. I would hate to lose my job for because I underperformed. And a lot of times, so here's the thing. It's called a personal accountability. If you take accountability for your actions as you're doing your job and you're doing it well, and he still lets you go, and you did it like you're supposed to, you did take personal responsibility and you did your job. That means that he's just an idiot. So there's nothing you can do about it. So you forget your boss. But if you are taking personal responsibility for everything that you do, then honestly, and he gives you some criticisms, listen to those, because he's trying to make you better. And if he's trying to make you better, that means he's got a better idea of where he wants to put you in the future. You could be doing something totally different job than what you're currently doing, because he wants to have you improve and wants you to be better. So let's look at on the bright side of this whole thing. Try that and go that route. Unless you're not performing well, and you say you're doing good, but are you doing the best you can? If you're putting 100% into your job as much as you're putting 100% into everything else, whether it's gaming, whether it's whatever it is, whatever you enjoy doing, if you put 100% into that, you'll be okay. That's what I would do. Anyway. Hey, Devin, I've been married for 10 years, and honestly, it feels like the romance is gone. We're great at managing the house and the kids, but that's about it. There's no passion, no excitement. Just a routine that feels like co-parenting and being in love. Every time I try to talk to my spouse about it, they tell me I'm being dramatic and that this just what happens over time. But I don't want to settle for this. How do I ignite the spark without making them feel like I'm asking for too much? So here's the thing. Actions speak louder than words. I'm going to say that again. Actions speak louder than words. So when it comes to your marriage running on empty, the romance is gone, I'll tell you what, that's dual fold. There are two people in the problem with this. Now, you're talking about it, which is a good step. And give him a reason. Simple as that. You got to give him a reason. You know, if his saying this is just something that how things happen after 10 years. You're right. Start dating again. See, the problem and that's actually, so Jen, you're super. That is literally where I was going with this whole thing. You got to give them a reason. And most people, when they get married, they get too complacent and they backslide. And when they backslide, they kind of forget. You kind of forget why you dated and married each other anyway. And that's sad. Why would you do that? You love the person for a reason anyway. So what you got to start dating again. That would really be my first question. How often do you guys spend time with each other? Do you go out for a movie? Do you go out to get dinner? Do you leave the kids with a babysitter? Or if they're old enough, do you leave them at home by themselves? And do you guys go out and do something? Now, if the answer is no, there's your problem. That's where you got to start. That's all. That's literally it. Then, if you're missing out on some bedroom stuff, give them a reason. I don't know one single man on this earth that if he had any notion, any slight little hint that something's going to happen, that they won't be there for that. Dead serious. As I said before, I mean, I always reference this because it's funny, but it's also freaking epic. Older movie, Fried Green Tomatoes. Believe it's Fried Green Tomatoes. Pretty sure. The reality is, she gave her husband a reason. He opened up the door, came home from work. Now it backfired on her a little bit, but it was hilarious. But she wrapped herself in cellophane and met him at the door. Give him a reason. If words aren't working, show him through actions. If you can show him through actions, everything else will figure it out. Again, give him a reason. Send some of those innuendo texts to him. Simple as that. If you did that, oh my gosh, he'd be coming home for lunch. You want that spark to get there? Give him a reason. I'll tell you what, men are slow, okay? Men are clueless, men are slow. If you feel like the romance is not there, create the romance. Start the dating. And you can do the things that you want. Seriously, do the things that you would like. So think about it as of how a man would want it to be. Men are simple. He's already getting a couple of things out of the relationship. I guarantee. So he's getting food. You're feeding him, and he gives you. There's conversation because you guys talked about this, but he's saying that you don't have to worry. But this is just what happens. So you got the two of the things. It's the bedroom stuff that's missing. Give him the reason to come home for lunch. Give him the reason to want to be there and keep things going. I guarantee he won't say no. And if he says no, he's an idiot. Plain and simple. Because I don't know one single man that would just doesn't want to. My wife, if she asked me, if she came down here right now and gave me a look, this podcast would be over. There would be nothing holding me back from leaving this thing in the middle of an episode if my wife came down and gave me a look. Plain and simple, give him a reason. Follow through. Hey, Devin, I've been with my boyfriend for almost 2 years, and while he's a great guy, I'm just not in love with him anymore. I feel awful because he hasn't done anything wrong, and I know he still loves me, but I can't keep pretending. The problem is he's super sensitive, and I'm scared that breaking up with him will really hurt him. How do I break up in the kindest way possible? Breakups suck. Here's the thing, okay? There's no way to break up with someone in a kind way. I mean, you can do it in a kind way, but meaning it's going to be bad no matter what. If you're sensing that something's off in the relationship, and now I will say there may be someone else involved, probably for you, because you're saying that something's not there. Either way, just tell them. Be honest with them. And it's going to hurt. It will. Because breakups suck. But I'd rather have someone be honest with me. Because honestly, he deserves someone that's going to be there for him. He deserves someone that's going to be there and love him as much as he loves you. He deserves someone. He deserves every bit of that. Just like you deserve it too. Both you guys deserve to be with the people that are going to do everything for you. Now, if this is a situation of grass is greener on the other side of the fence, it's not greener. You just think it is. Sadly, that's just how the world works. You spent 2 years and you say he's a great guy. You don't just fall out of love. You just try to. There's an underlining issue, is what happened here. But if you're serious, set on breaking up with them, that's what you emailed me because you want me to tell you how to break up with them. Be direct. Do it in person. Let him have it. He deserves to have every feeling that he's going to have, and he may lash out and yell, or he may start crying and tell you don't go. Either way, he is entitled to those feelings. And it's going to suck to be him, especially if he cares about you as much as you say he does. But you got to deal with it. And you're going to have to deal with the fact that you're breaking someone's heart. But if it's not there, it's not there. And again, he deserves someone who's going to be better than you. Plain and simple. Don't you think? Don't you deserve someone? Do you deserve someone that's better? And if he's not it, then that's it. Let's see what you got to say. I'll add you to it. Anyway, I mean, honestly, if you just be honest, be straightforward, because if you're not, then it's not worth it. And if you're not willing to be straightforward with him, then you're not the right person for him anyway. So seriously, just tell him. It's plain and simple. Be straightforward. Be done. Get it over with. Pull that Band-Aid off. Let him move on with his life. Plain and simple. Hey, Devin, I've been at the same job for 5 years, and I'm completely miserable. My boss is impossible to deal with. The work is monotonous, and every day I feel drained before even walking in. The problem is I can't afford to quit. I've got bills, a mortgage, and student loans to worry about, and the job market isn't great right now. How do I survive in a job I hate when I feel like I'm stuck with no way out? The job markets can suck right now. I mean, it's hit and miss. Depends on where you are. I don't know where you live, but the reality is when it comes to a job's a job. Most people in America, most people around the world really don't like their jobs. They do it because it pays for the stuff that they want. Now, if you can find a job that you like, then that's awesome. That's a great day. The only way to make your job bearable is honestly you just go in and do it, and you create the atmosphere after work that you look forward to. Right? Now, when it comes to being at the job, unless you can figure out some way to make it fun, okay. If you can make your job fun in any way possible, if you can figure that part out of your job and how to make it where it becomes where you can enjoy it. I say this, how can you figure out how you can make your job fun? Seriously. I mean, the thing is, going into work every day, I mean, after 5 years, it is boring. You know exactly what you're going to do. And honestly, most people's jobs do the same dang thing over and over and over again. You know how many emails I've been reading for the past several weeks? All I do, I sit here, I read emails, and I respond to them. But you know what? I enjoy it. I love it. You guys are awesome. Oh, sorry. Trying not to sneeze. It's allergy season for me. Seasons are changing. The thing is, your job can be fun. Your boss may be impossible. Nothing you can do about it. What you can do is keep looking for another job, keep putting your name out there, network like no other, find something that you really want to do, find something that you really would enjoy, and jump on that. But until then, keep doing what you're doing. Figure out one thing that you can do to look forward to. Now, if you hate your job and you can't make your job where it's enjoyable, create the atmosphere after your work. So you say, I can go get this done, and then my after work life is going to be epic. That's the only thing you can do. I mean, really, it's not an easy thing to do, but for your sanity, you got to do it. Hey, Devin, I have a 15-year-old daughter, and lately It's like she's living in a different world. She barely talks to me, stays locked in her room all day, and when I try to ask her how she's doing, I get no word answers. I know teenagers are supposed to be moody, but I can't help feel like I'm losing her. Is this normal? Or should I be worried that she's shutting me out? How do I reconnect with her before it's too late? Teenagers are rough, okay? Apologize, man. Allergy medicine is wearing off for the day. I've got teenagers. I have young adults. And I can tell you, I understand this. I understand this 100%. What you need to do, you got to figure out some way to get into that box. Okay? Teenagers are an interesting beast. You know how you were. Think about it. Think about how you felt when you were a teenager and when your parents tried to talk to you. I guarantee you shut them out a little bit, right? So how do you solve that problem? To solve the problem is simple. You keep talking to them. You make sure they're not eating dinner in their own room. You make sure they're having dinner at the table. So they're among all the people. Get them into the room of the living, right? Get them out of that whole world. And yes, teenagers are going to be moody. But honestly, what you need to do, spend time with her. That's simple. I guarantee that she likes to go out for like some frozen yogurt or ice cream or whatever. I don't know one single kid that would turn that away. So just walk up there and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And she says, "Nothing." Shoulders go up. Say, "Let's go get something." And then we're like, "I don't want to go anywhere." Say, "Well, do you want to go get some ice cream?" I guarantee, as a dad, that has worked for me. Create a new atmosphere. Because the teenagers feel like parents, all they do is ride them and tell them that they're doing wrong. That's a teenage thing. If you can convince them that that's not the only reason you exist is just to tell them what to do and that they're doing wrong, and you connect with them in a different level, like, "Hey, how's school?" And don't say, "Hey, how is school?" You got to get creative in your questions. You know, it's like my wife today. I always ask her how work is, but I don't ask her how's work, because then what happens is like you get the same old, "Oh, it was okay." What I ask was what at work today was pretty awesome, and so my wife answered today she was nothing. But I got an answer. I mean, it works. This works for everybody. This works on every relationship, every level you can think of. If you can ask a specific question. Don't just ask general questions, ask specific questions. Then you'll get a good answer. You'll get a specific answer. It's that simple. Spend time with your teenager. Figure out what they like. I can tell you right now, I have a 14-year-old son. Everything he does revolves around a couple of things: playing video games, listening to Billie Eilish because he thinks she is the most amazing thing that ever existed. I don't get it. Whatever. If I can talk about one or two of those things, I'm golden. And then on the other side, I'm like, "Hey, do you want to go get some candy?" "Yeah, Dad, let's go get some candy." I got him. He's in the palm of my hand. I can control that kid with the simple of doing a couple little things. So you've got to figure out how to reconnect with your daughter. Now, daughters are harder. I will tell you, daughters are easier for dads than they are. I believe daughters are easier for dads than they are for moms. Seriously. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean it's impossible. So do the hard thing. Invite her to do something. And if she tells you no, "You're being weird, Mom," no, brush it off. Go away. The next day, do it again. And then they'll eventually say, "Well, why do you want to do this so much?" Say, "Well, no, I just want to take you somewhere. I just want to do something with you. And I think maybe ice cream would be fun. Just you and me. We can get it to go. Don't even have to go. You don't even have to be seen with me. We'll get it. We'll go through the drive-through and we'll go find a place to park and we'll just eat our ice cream and listen to music or whatever." Say it that way. Because if they feel like you are making them important in your life, you will be important in their life. Raising kids is hard. Raising teenagers is harder, and raising, honestly, young adults is probably one of the hardest things because they want to be adults, but they also want to feel like a kid in some ways too. No matter what you do, it can work out. You just have to involve yourself. You just have to give them a reason to be part of your life. Because I know how I was as a teenager. I know there's a lot of things I didn't tell my parents, but my parents would involve themselves. My mom would ask the questions, and they weren't, how was your day? She would say, what did you do that was fun today? And then I had to think of what did I do? And no, I haven't had fun yet, but I'm going to go hang out with my friends, and this is what we're going to do later on. So then she got out of me where I was going, who I was hanging out with, and what was going on. And that's really the top things a parent needs to know: where your kid is, what they're getting into, and are they going to be safe? That's all you need to know. Plain and simple. I'm telling you, do those, and you'll be okay. Don't stress. You're a great mom. You're doing the right things. You got this. Hey, Devin, I feel like no matter how hard I try, I can't get my budget under control. Between rent, groceries, utilities, and unexpected expenses, I feel like I'm drowning in bills. I want to save money, but it's like every time I get a little ahead, something happens and wipes out my progress. How do I get on top of my finances without feeling like I'm living paycheck to paycheck forever? Finances are hard. Finances suck because, especially like here in Utah, I think the average rent in Utah is like $2,000, $2,100 a month now. And then you figure you got rent, you got all your other bills, you got to start with the small things you already know. And yes, someone told me all you do, Devin, is regurgitate some of the stuff that Dave Ramsey tells you because it's common sense. Honestly, I knew this stuff before I even heard about Dave Ramsey. Before I even met Dave Ramsey and know Dave Ramsey, I knew these things. Partially because my parents taught it to us. So start with what your outgo is. What can you eliminate? Because if you're trying to build up something, then you need to do it. So here's the thing. I tell my kids, you don't need Spotify. You don't need to pay for Spotify. I get it. That's what you want to do. You want to have music. Okay, so there's that. So understand that's what, $10 a month? Well, figure out how you're going to eliminate some more money out of your monthly bill. Check your cell phone bills. If you're paying a couple $100s a month for a cell phone bill, you're crazy. There's so many cheaper places out there to go. And if you can't do that, you need to save up some money to pay cash for a phone. Don't finance a phone. Pay cash for a phone. Roll that over into a new plan with somebody else. There's so cheaper cell phone plans out there, so you can make your cell phone bill cheaper. Also, do you really need Netflix all the time? I'm dead serious. I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it. In our house, we have cable. We don't have cable TV, but if you have a digital antenna. If you screw that in the back of your television, you're going to get, like, if you live in the city, you're going to get probably 12 to 15 channels at least. And it'll be local channels, and you'll have local TV and all the stuff on there. Now, that being said, that does not give you the movies and stuff that you want from Netflix or whatever. I guarantee you're probably already paying for Amazon. So did you know that Amazon gives you movies and stuff? You have Prime Video. So that's part of your Amazon package, right? Now, that being said, that's done. Do you really need Netflix? Do you need all those different things, right? If you're not ordering enough on Amazon to cover what you need for your bills, get rid of it. Don't need to be paying the extras. Seriously, I'm dead serious. Use your parents' Amazon account and have it go to their account. That's what my kids do. Now, go back to Netflix. You can watch everything you want to watch on Netflix within 2 quarters of the year. So stage it out. Say, okay, I'm not buying Netflix until what we do. We wait till Christmas time. The quarter of Christmas, the last quarter of the year, we get Netflix, and then we let that expire when that money's gone, and then we get Netflix for the second quarter of the year. You can essentially see everything that you want to watch on Netflix within that amount of time. Now, how I do that is I refuse and I hate when people take money out of my bank account. I despise when people take money out of my bank account. So I don't allow people to take money out of my bank account. I go, if I want Netflix for our family, I go and buy the gift cards from the store. And honestly, if you get gift cards at like Costco, you're getting a discount on the gift card. So they're giving you a percentage off already. So if you do that, You use that gift card from the store. You upload that money into your account. It's a set number of dollars in that account, and then you set your plan accordingly. Once that's done, when that money is empty, you no longer have the Netflix, and it disappears. Then that's okay. It goes away, and then when the next quarter goes by and you don't have it, and then the quarter after that comes in, you buy it again. There's a million different tricks when it comes to just figuring out your basic finances in your home. If your budget's totally out of control because of it, the only way to fix it is to eliminate your outgo. Are you eating out all the time? Well, start cooking at home more. Meal prep your lunches. Cook your breakfast. My wife, literally before when we were cooking dinner tonight, she started cooking another meal, which would essentially be her breakfast for her work because she goes to work early. She cooked her breakfast. She went in, separated it in the little Tupperware containers, not really Tupperware, the glass containers with the lids on them. And so that's prepped and ready for her. So she takes that to work. I'm telling you, if you want to cut and build up some type of money to get ahead, you got to watch your outgo. How much you're spending on the money going out is literally equal to of life. You can't change rent. Rent's going to go up every year, so there's that. You can't change how much it costs to fill up your gas tank. What you can do if you live in a city where there's a public transportation like a train, take the train. Figure out some way to do it. Because unless you're getting a huge raise or you have dual incomes coming in your house and you have no kids, money's going to always be tight. So you got to figure out how to reduce your outgo. Then also, I'm going to say it, find yourself a side hustle. My wife and I, a few years back, I hear a lot of people say, "Hey, they can't figure out how to make more money. There's no way to make money. I don't want to do the DoorDash stuff. I don't want to deliver food like that." There's a million ways to make money. So I did a thing. I made a goal. I said, okay, I'm going to take $20 and I'm going to see how much I can make in 1 month, starting with just $20. Now that was a $20 investment. Now what I'm going to tell you is not my gross income. This was my net. This was my take home after. Out of 30 days, I was on a side hustle working out of my garage. I was able to clear after expenses and starting with only $20, we were able to bring in an extra $8,500 in 1 month. Now what I did was simple. I'm like, I got $20. What can I do? So I said, I'm good with my hands. I can build stuff. I have some tools here. So I started thinking. I went to Etsy. No, not Etsy. I went to Pinterest and I looked for things on Pinterest. What can I build? What can I do? So I scrolled and I scrolled and I scrolled and I scrolled. And then all of a sudden I came across this idea that someone had. It's not my original idea. I wish I could take claim for it. I wish I could. I saw this idea of making Yahtzee, basically. So a big giant 5-gallon bucket. It had a bunch of 4x4 dice that you have to make, and you have a clipboard and the papers for Yahtzee. I paid someone for the Yahtzee print on Etsy. They did a PDF print. I printed it off. It was the Yahtzee game on a piece of paper, like you would need. I cut up 4x4s. So I went and jumped into all the dumpsters because all the construction going on, and I found a bunch of 4x4 scraps. Most of them were like this, 1.5 feet, 2 feet long, whatever, but they had thrown them away. Parts of them were busted, whatever. I kept the good pieces. Now I only started with $20, so I had to buy the first set I had to make. I had to buy buckets and clipboards. That's the only two things I had to buy for the first few of them. Then I made them. I had a little burner, so I burnt the dots on the 4x4 blocks, and I made my first one. I listed it on Facebook Marketplace. Once I listed on Facebook Marketplace, someone ordered it. Boom! I sold that sucker for what was it, $65? Because I put it in a metal. I gave them two options: $45 for a plastic bucket, $65 for a metal bucket. Metal bucket looked nice, and then my wife has a Cricut machine, so we vinyled and we put on the bucket, said Yahtzee. We end up making so many of those things. We cleared $8,500. I'm dead serious. Go find the YouTube video. I may have a video about it. $8,500 extra part-time working out of my garage. So when I hear people that tell me that they cannot figure out how to make extra money and their budget's totally out of control, that tells me one, they're stuck, or two, they're lazy. If you're just stuck, you can get yourself unstuck. It's simple. Anybody can get themselves unstuck. You just have to put in some effort. Put in the effort, figure it out. If I can make $8,500 in 30 days, cutting up 4x4s, burning dice holes on them, and selling those things, anybody can. There's a million things. I'm telling you, you go to go to Pinterest and you scroll and you look, you'll find something that you can do. Plain and simple. Now my wife and I, we have our own little small business. We sell stuff online too still. We have our own store. And we keep doing that. That's our side hustle. And then once we get moved to Tennessee, then that side hustle will actually it's going to turn into an actual real brick and mortar store. So we're doing that. That's to come. Right now it's all done online. But seriously, to get your finances under control, you need to generate a little bit more extra income and you need to cut your expenses. Figure out how you can cut it. Lower your cell phone bill, whatever you got to do. Eliminate Netflix, eliminate something. Stop eating out. That'll solve the problem. And you'll get your budget under control. And you'll have excess money. And you'll be able to put money to the side. It seems like, your life's similar to mine. When you get a little extra money, then all of a sudden something happens. And usually that something happens, it means our car broke down. Or we need to buy new tires. It's wintertime, so we got to buy the winter tires. They have the little studs in them because Utah requires that. Either way, you can do it. You can figure it out. Hey, Devin, my son's teacher has been giving him a hard time all year. She's overly strict, and it seems like she singles him out for the smallest things. He's always been a good student, but now he's dreading going to school. It's breaking my heart. I've tried talking to her, but she's defensive and acts like I'm overreacting. How do I stand up for my kid without making things worse? Okay, I'm going to say the thing that you probably don't want to hear. It may be you. Okay, we'll talk about two situations here, but this may be a you problem. You first say he's overly strict. Now here's the thing. She's overly strict. Here's the thing. You may parent different than she teaches. And think about it on the other way, she's not just a teacher over one kid. She's a teacher over probably 27. She's probably got 27 kids in that schoolroom, and every one of them have special things that they need done. They come from all 27 different backgrounds. I would say, why don't you give the teacher a little bit of a break, for one, because the odds are that she's a bad teacher is probably very slim. They do exist. We've dealt with them. But I'm going to tell you, if you support the teacher, she will support you. And the fact that you've already had a discussion with her, and she says, and you say she's defensive, of course she's going to be defensive. It's about how you portrayed it and how you came across. I'm not sure if you came across rude or something, or you feel like was not rude, but most parents don't know how to talk. Most people don't know how to talk to people and to figure out how to resolve conflict. Conflict resolution is definitely something that should be taught, but most people don't get it. So I'm going to say it. The problem may be you. Okay? Maybe you should push your kid a little bit harder instead of trying to make it easy for him. Because think about how hard life is for you. It's probably doubly, if not triply harder for the teacher, because she's got 27 of you to deal with. She has some of the parents that she deals with those kids are pretty decent. Some of them are probably hard to deal with. The odds are that she's a bad teacher is very minor. I'm counting on that. We had a problem with one of our kids' teachers, and she was crazy. Literally, she was crazy. She told the kids things that she should never even say. And we know this because our son recorded it. And because he knows that I take the teacher's word first before I take my kid's word. And I told him, I said, I'm going to have to go with the teacher until you can prove otherwise. And then he did. He proved otherwise. And then when he proved it, I believed him, and we fixed the problem. So what you got to do is you need to figure out how to make the teacher's life easier. And that may be by supporting the teacher more, and seeing if she needs help. Simple things. One of the things that bothered our son's teacher was the hardest problem she had was kids were having to go. So she was in a portable, and the kids would always leave. In wintertime, it sucks because it makes it even longer. They would leave to go get something to drink, and they would go all the way, go out the portable, go into the school, get something to drink, then come back. It would take probably 5 to 10 minutes every time. And you got 27 kids doing that. It's hard to teach. And kids get behind. So what I did, I took that equation out for her. I went and bought a water cooler, and I kept refilling the bottles so she would always have water. So I took every excuse away from her until we figured out the full problem. So do the same thing. Support the teacher. Take all the excuses away. If you take all the excuses away, then you can address it. And if she still is not willing to talk about it, then you take it to the principal and you address it with the principal and you tell him the list of things that you've done to try to help the situation, but nothing seems to be happening. Sometimes you got to go to the school board. Sadly, that's part of it. But if you do that, if you do your due diligence and you don't criticize her on the way she's doing things, because she's doing things the best she can. She's not paid much. Think about it. She's getting paid to teach your kid and probably a bunch of other dumb kids too. I'm dead serious. And dealing with other parents who are just, if not harder than to deal with you, they're probably harder. You may think you're easygoing, but that's because you're thinking about yourself. Everybody in the world that you know has a different version of you in their brain than what you have, than who you really are. So just like you're judging her, you got to understand that she's judging you. So the reality is, support the teacher, figure out and take away every excuse. Once those excuses are eliminated and they're gone and they're still a problem, then you got a leg to stand on. But until then, I wouldn't complain. I would help. You get the old saying is, you get a whole lot more with honey than you do with vinegar, is a true thing. So give her some of the honey, see what happens. And if it turns out after all said and done, and it's going to take some time. That's not something to be done in one day. It takes time. She needs to feel like you support her. And if you support her, she'll be good. And I guarantee your kid will perform better. Because honestly, the reality is, it's probably your kid and it's probably you. If you eliminate that problem and you make her life better, your kid's life will get better. That I promise. All right, these are doubles. All right, here we go. Hey, Devin, I'm in my 30s. I feel completely stuck. Did I do this already? Hold on. Okay. Hey, Devin, I'm in my 30s and I feel completely stuck. I have a decent job. I'm in a stable relationship and everything on paper looks fine. But inside, I feel unfulfilled. I don't have any real passions or direction. And every day feels like I'm just going through the motions. I'm scared that if I don't figure it out soon, this is going to be my life. This is just going to be my life forever. How do I find purpose when I don't even know what I'm looking for? Okay. There's multiple textbook answers to this, okay? Depends on the person. One thing I'm going to say, and it's the biggest thing out of all things, and you can take this whether it's religious or not religious or whatever. If you want to talk religion, I'll be glad to discuss that part with you. I think that does help you gain purpose. Now, if you push that to the side, Okay. Because most people don't like talking religion and they get kind of offended when you do, which is sad. It's just a discussion. So I'll say it this way. If you don't have any direction and you feel lost, you need to serve. And when I say you need to serve, I mean you need to volunteer and you need to help people out. You're in your 30s, you got a good job, you got all this stuff going on, and you're in a good relationship, but you feel like you have no purpose. When you're helping other people, your life changes. When you serve other people, especially people who are in need of in some way or another. And I'm not saying that you have to go to the homeless shelter and put in time there, although that's a good thing to do. Find people who need help and go that route. Even if you did it once, and I'm saying you should do it more than once a year. So my kids, what's one thing we've tried to do? This is something we do every year, every Christmas. And it always happens at Christmas time. And we always give them a reason to do this. We have every year, we always go and we make extra cookies, a ton of cookies. We make cookies like it's going out of style, right? And then we go and we make our kids deliver those to people. And when we make them deliver them, we do ding dong ditching. So they go and ring the doorbell. Of course, everybody's got cameras, so it doesn't matter. Who cares? Let them see who it was. We don't care. And they put the cookies on the front porch. They ring the doorbell and they run. And that's a simple little thing to do of service. It's so minor, so ridiculous. It's easy. We do bread sometimes. There's a million things you can do. I'm telling you, if you're feeling stuck in life and you don't feel like you have any direction, you need to go help people. Spend some time talking to people, figuring it out. You got to do that. Now, that being said, most people in their 30s nowadays, they have been away from religion. They have been away from God. Take religion out of it and let's just put God into it. Figure out where you stand with God. Pray. Talk to him. Discuss things, and you'll get a direction. Also, find a hobby. Go experiment with things. See what you want. See what you enjoy. I'm not telling you should become a golfer. I'm not telling you should be a cyclist in your 30s like most people do. They pick up some of the hobbies like that. Find something that you enjoy that you can do with others that can bring you happiness. Because everybody deserves to feel happiness, and everybody's been here. I mean, I've been in that spot, and I'm in my 40s. It happens quite often. And part of it is because I'm not following through with my own commitments on some stuff. And when I slightly rebuke myself and I figure that part out, it all works out. Feeling stuck is a sucky thing, especially when you just don't know where to go. I mean, because if you're in your 30s, that means you've been working for a while. You've been on the job, whether it's the same job forever or the same career stuff for a while. The reality is it can figure itself out, but you need to add some new element to your life. So that's what you got to do. Create and add one new element of something that will that'll make you happier. That's really it. That's the secret sauce there. That solves all your problems. If you want to find purpose, add new element to your life that you haven't been doing, or add an element back to your life that you've been fighting against. And honestly, probably that one has something to do with God. Not everybody will agree with me, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with me. I'm just telling you how I feel. You sent me the email, so I'm responding back to you. So there's that. Either way, if you just do it, you'll be fine. Add something new to your life. And if that new thing does not work, go to something else. It's okay. And if you feel like, well, I'm a failure at this, well, who cares? Be a failure. If you're not failing, you're not learning. You never learn from anything from success. Successes are awesome. Like, whoo, I did it. Woo, yay. But the only reality is if you fail, then at least you know something. You seriously, you do know. I played golf once in my life. I have played golf. I thought I'd want to try golf. And I figured out after one game of golf is not for me. Because I wanted something that would not be frustrating. Because I was, at the time when I was younger, when I did this, I was frustrated and everything. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? I need to do this. And I realized that by adding something more frustrating to my life was not going to make me happy. So I played one golf game, and that's all it took. I tried and I failed at it, but it was a success because I realized I didn't have all that money invested in golf clubs and all this other stuff. So I was a win-win. So it's okay to fail. Embrace the failures, because those failures will turn into successes, because you're going to find your purpose. Add one new element. If that element doesn't work, add something new, because it's going to be perfectly fine. Hey, Devin, all my friends are getting married, and now they're starting to ask me when I'm going to tie the knot. The thing is, I'm just not ready. I love my partner, but I'm not sure I'm ready for that kind of commitment yet. I feel like I'm being judged for not being on the same timeline as everyone else. How do I handle the pressure without rushing into something I'm not ready to do? Don't ever feel pressured into jumping into marriage. If you're going to get married to somebody, you need to know that that's the person you're going to get married to. Your friends are just all here. Okay. Two things happen when you get married. One of two things happen, right? One, all your single friends tend to disappear, because when two people get married, they tend to focus on each other more than they focus on their friendships than they ever did. That's sad. That's the truth, though. Okay. Doesn't always have to be that way, but it typically does. And what's happening is all your friends are married, so you're that single friend. So these people, what it is married people like to hang out with other married people. Part of that is because that's a new element that they have in common. Being that you're the single one, they still want you to be around, but what they want is you to have someone added to, so then you guys can do all the couple things together, right? Because couple things are important. They're fun. The old saying, birds of a feather flock together. That's what's happening here. They want you to be the same bird that they are. Well, if you're not ready, don't worry about it. And you can ignore it. You can say, hey, I'm not ready to get married. And they're going to give you a million reasons why their marriage is so much better than everybody else's, and how you can have that same love too, and that awesome stuff. They're going to tell you that. Just let them talk. Sure, it'll get annoying, but know what else is just equally annoying to them? When you brag about how awesome your single life is. I mean, both sides. There is no wrong way to do it. Everybody thinks single life is better than married life. I will tell you, my married life to my wife is the greatest thing I have ever done. It is the greatest achievement and greatest thing. It is the best thing I have ever dealt with in my life. And it's one of the hardest damn things I've ever done in my life. The second hardest, if not if anything, would be raising kids, because raising kids puts a burden on the marriage too. But that's another story, another thing to discussion for another day. Now, that being said, embrace your single life, be happy with your single life, and forget about what the judging. Don't let it bother you. It doesn't matter what other people think anyway. Only thing that matters is how you feel about yourself. And if they're making you feel like crap, then tell them. Say, hey, you know what, guys? You guys kind of make me feel like garbage when you're talking to me like this. Tell them. Have that conversation. Because if you don't, then it's just going to keep going on. Yes, they want you to be married. They want you to be able to hang out and do the couple things that they do, because that's how it is. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. You have a good night as well. But then, it's life is too hard in many cases to worry about the little things. So don't worry about the little things. Honestly, how are you doing? I mean, yeah, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. Okay. Do I do another one or do I not? That's the question. It is 10:48. I said I would be done by 11. I can do another one. I don't know. That's the big question. Doorward 24, how are you doing this evening? See if I can find another one. All right, here we go. Hey, Devin. My wife and I have completely different approaches when it comes to raising our kids. She's all about letting them figure out things on their own, while I'm more of a set set the rules, and enforce them type. I'm starting to figure it's starting to create tension between us because the kids are taking advantage of our differences. I don't want to argue over every little thing, but I also don't want to undermine each other as a parent. How do I get on the same page without constantly clashing over how to raise our kids? Okay, Dad, here's the deal. Raising kids is hard. Dealing with kids is hard. But not being on the same page as your spouse is harder. Because if you're not on the same page, it'll never work. Because as you said, the kids are figuring it out and they're taking advantage. So this is a conversation you need to have with your spouse. And she knows your parenting style and you know her parenting style. So what you guys got to do is you need to explain to her in a nice way. Don't come across as a jerk because then that'll backfire on you. You need to explain to her that you guys need to be on the same page and you're willing to make some changes on how you think when it comes to raising the kids, but you're asking her if she can make some changes. So because if you're not equal and you're not a united front, your kids are going to take advantage of them, and honestly, you're going to raise a bunch of a-holes. Simple as that. Seriously, that is the reality. So if you get on this, you gotta have that conversation, because if you don't, then what's going to happen is your marriage is going to be on the rocks. It's going to be hard because I don't know any other way to say it. This will be the make or break moment for your marriage. And everybody knows it's all about making adjustments. So make the adjustment for yourself and also ask her to make the adjustment too. So you guys can be equal on this thing and be that united front. Plain and simple. Anyway. I'm going to thank you guys for everything. Thank you for being part of this. Thanks for jumping on the podcast and being part of this whole thing. This is an awesome experiment that I keep doing. Again, thank you. Now I'm going to say it. Don't forget to jump in. Don't forget to share the videos. Post a lot of videos. Don't forget to do that. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to do any of that stuff. All this stuff is important. Tell people to subscribe. Pick out your favorite video that I posted and share that. If you share that, that makes my life easier. And then on top of that, keep sending the emails. If you have a friend that's in trouble, or you're in trouble, or you just don't know about something, reach out, send a message, talk to me, because I will help you as much as I can. I'm just a dad giving advice is all I am. That's all I do. That's all I deal with. That's everything I've ever done. Anyway, hope you guys are doing well. Have a good evening, and I will talk to you guys later.